So each year, I think every year, in order for the chapter to receive their stipend, they must receive 4,158,000. And for the last 3 years, we've been under that amount. And so because of that, the chapters suffer. But that changed through Delegate Hinyu's legislation, where he recently dropped legislation, and it has been addressed and approved by the 24th Council to fully allocate chapter official stipend. So that's my summary. Budget and Finance Committee and Chair. Thank you.
Ms. Colgate, for the update and the information you provided to the committee. Committee members, Delegate Yellow Hair.
Oh, I can't Chair, Vice Chair, my colleagues, Budget and Finance Committee, I'll ask you for a consideration to process on to the next meeting of the committee that we banana I don't hear so the unhin hit the net so ARH they get on hit on the hunter the short Navajo Nation saw he tonight the candle John Hajo Pashino Jordan Nick as a good education age of Pahalo. So thank you very much and also affirm and thank you very much. And the rest of all the assistance. Thanks a million. Yeah, I'll go back on mute now.
Kushina, committee members, are there any questions for Delegate Yellow Hair and his legislation? Yeah, I don't hear any. So with this, I'll call for the question. Vice Chair Smith.
Green.
The Shemont Delegate Amber Crowdy, are you back with us? Okay, Shemont Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown votes green. Yeah.
Delegate Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Elmer Begay, Shnanda. Shnanda Delegate Yellow Hair.
I vote green, Chair. Chair, thank you, and Vice Chair, and my colleagues.
We have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, Chair not voting. Delegate Amber Crowdy is excused, and Delegate Elmer Begay not voting. I'll meet you there again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kushina, with that, let's move on our agenda. The next item on our agenda.
Thank you. Bye.
Chapter. Good luck on this legislation moving forward.
Please Delegate Begay again. Calling back in.
Yep. Okay. Elmer Begay back. We have legislation, new business. Legislation 051-20. Peggy, if you would read that for us. Herman Daniels, are you available?
Yes, I'm on the line, Chair. Thank you.
Christina, we got good sponsors here. Peggy, go ahead, if you would read.
Okay. Members of the Budget and Finance Committee, legislation number 051-20, an action relating to resources and development at Budget and Finance Committees, approving a change in Resolution Cap 3518, Exhibit B number 10 and Exhibit D number 97 and number 98. Beacon Inscription House Chapter project by amending the funding amount, sponsored by Herman M. Daniels Jr., Council Delegate. This has been read into the record, and excuse me, Mr. Chair, this document is a redo legislation. According to the Office of Legislative Counsel, to avoid any challenges or such, this was required to be redone by the committee. So, and someone needs to mute their phone, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that was me. I was listening on the other call. But with that, committee members, is there a motion?
Motion yellow here, please, Chair.
Okay,
Second by
Delegate
Delegate.
second by Delegate Elmer Begay. Okay, this is a redo legislation from we took action on this nation and our delegate Daniels on your legislation.
Thank you, Chair. Budget and Finance Committee, Kodo, the Vice Chair, and also my colleagues, Kodo, Budget and Finance Committee members, Seniki Arunda, Kodo, Shama, Keno Seniki, and the staff, Kodo, advisor, and also reporter, Kodo, Isha, Kodo, Kodo, with me, I have a Beacon chapter manager, Earl Sombrero, on the line as well. So, Kodo, Arunana, Kodo, Nagata. You took action there, but then I guess the teleconference they expired itself, so we have to redo the legislation to go before the Budget and Finance Committee again. So it's just a revote. But I'm going to give some time to Ash Beacon chapter manager, Mr. Sombrero. So. Chair. Thank you.
Koshina, Mr. Sombrero.
Good morning, Yate, Anna, Chair, and then Vice Chair, and so forth. Natani, Notinity, the Nahal Kennedy, Patoya, Earl Sombrero from Beacon, Chapter Manager, Ado T. Destiny, not close to me, Taco, because it's just basically moving money from different years to year two. Just basically moving money from our solid waste transfer station to our electrification project to do house wiring activities and then to do the actual electrification of 34 homes within our community that are without electricity. So I know we already had this conversation before, but I would just appreciate your support again on behalf of my community here. And then just hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Chair, this is Delegate Daniels again. I don't know if you have any questions. Chair. Thank you.
I'm going to share that committee members. Delegate Daniels, Mr. Sombrero for that presentation. Committee members, are there any questions? Can you go straight to your vote?
I don't have any
I believe
questions,
everything.
Process motion. Y'all have a motion?
Yeah. Everything was in order at the beginning, at the first time around. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor. So with that, Shananta, Delegate Yellowhair, how do you vote?
I'll vote green.
Kashina, Vice Chair Smith.
Green.
Okay, Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown votes green. Yes.
Delegate Elmer Begay.
I'll vote green.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. That motion carries. Delegate Daniel, good luck on your construction.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I want to say thank you.
You're welcome today. What's this? So we do have Deja Delegate Charles Newton. Are you on the line?
Oh, Shana, I'm listening in. Go ahead.
Okay, Shana. With this, we have legislation 341-20. Peggy, if you would read that into the record for us.
Mr. Chair, this legislation number excuse me, I can't even think, 0341-19 is a proposed Navajo Nation Council resolution, 24th Navajo Nation Council, first year 2019, introduced by Eugenia Charles Newton. It has gone to Health, Education, and Human Services Committee, then the Resources and Development Committee, and now it's at Budget and Finance Committee. Then it goes on to Nabatea Committee and the Navajo Nation Council. So it's tracking number 0341-19. An action relating to Health, Education, and Human Services and Nabatea Committees and Navajo Nation Council, amending CAP 3518, titled Adopting the Citizen Fund Powerline and Chapter Projects Expenditure Plan pursuant to CD 6814, as amended by CJA 0318 and 12 NNC Section 2501 through 2508, as amended, waiving 12 NNC Section 810F, 820I and M, and 860C relating to the capital improvement budget and the capital improvement process, amending projects for Shiprock chapter. As I said, this document has gone before other standing committees. All of the exhibits that are referenced in the legislation are attached, and there were no comments from the Internet Public Review. The Health, Education, and Human Services Committee had it under review and is recommending a due pass with no amendments or directives. And then with a vote tally sheet, and then the Resources and Development Committee has a due pass with no amendments as well, and a vote tally sheet. And so, Mr. Chair, it's been electronically read into the record for Budget and Finance. And it's before you for registration.
Thank you, Peggy, for that. Committee members, is there a motion?
Gallagher motion?
Motion by Doug Gallagher. Is there a second? Brown, I'll second. Second by Shenandoah Delegate Brown. Okay, with that, we have today's Delegate Chair Charles Newton on the line. So if you would introduce your legislation to the Budget Finance Committee, Shadeja.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello? Okay, you guys, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, Budget and Finance Committee, actually, I would like to make a request at this time. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put all of the Sihiston projects on one bill for Shiprock. And the reason I'm doing this is because back during 23rd, then President Russell B. Gay had vetoed $500,000 that was supposed to go to a BIA project. So with that $500,000, what we did is we assigned new projects. And those projects came about after the first time I introduced the Sihiston project, the change in years. And we recently added another project. So out of respect to Budget and Finance, what I've been trying to do is put all of the projects together on one legislation and do the change years on all of them. I have had some difficulty with getting assistance from DCD. I sent an email to them back the very first time back in November with no response. I haven't been getting any cooperation also from the coordinator, which has made it very difficult to get information from on where these projects are at. Last week we did have a meeting with CPMD where they updated me on all of the projects. So I was very grateful for that. And now what I'm trying to do again is put everything in one legislation. The problem is, as we all heard as council delegates, Dana is really swamped with legislations right now, so she's trying to address the COVID-19 legislations first. So what I did tell her on Saturday that I would do was I would write the legislation and then she can review it. So I am in the process of doing that, and I apologize that this legislation is being brought up today on budget and finance. Chair, what I would like to ask is what options I have at this point so that we can, so I can work on the legislation, put all of the projects on there, list them, and then do the change years. The change year forms were just signed last week by CPMD, and so I'm really trying to push ahead to try to get these years changed, and then also I'm really trying to push to get these projects completed. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and I know that I'm not the only delegate that's dealing with this issue, but I will be quite honest with you. A majority of those projects that were listed, all of which maybe I think I've only added on 3 or 4, are less than 5% being used, as in the money is less than 5% that has been used to date. Nothing has been done on the Citizen project. I have sent several emails to Budget and Finance asking for the recommendation or assistance, asking how we can move these forward. Again, I understand that there are other delegates who are working with, I guess, are also having this issue. So again, Chair, if you could provide me some guidance on what I can do in this case. If you'd like me to proceed forward in changing this, I can do that, but I think it would be much better if we could just put all of the projects on one legislation, do all of the change years on that, and then add all of the new projects that have been added on since September onto that new legislation. Again, some guidance on this. Thank you.
Commissioner Ekelan, thank you for that presentation, and then also as far as my guidance is concerned, again, on this legislation, maybe we can get some assistance from Ms. Lowe. Ms. Kristen Lowe, are you still on the line? Ms. Lowe? Is there anybody from Chief Legislative Council?
I'm here. Can anybody hear me? This is Kristen.
Oh, yes, now we can. Now we can.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure I understand what the question is. It sounded like there might be an issue with CPMD, so that would be over on the executive side, but maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Chair, would you like me to restate the question without an explanation?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, Shana. Kristen, I'm rewriting the legislation. There's currently 2 legislations regarding Citizen that is before Budget and Finance. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put all of the Citizen projects that need change years, which is every single one of them, on one legislation so that it could be presented to the various committees that way. Every single project requires a change year, and there have also been other projects that have been added on as well. So I did reach out to Dana, and I let Dana know that I would be writing the legislation because I know that they've been swamped. So my question is, what options do I have? Because this current legislation is being heard by Budget and Finance. I'm not sure if it can be tabled again to give me time to write that legislation, or whether we should just move forward with it and then go from there.
Okay. Let me just I need 1 second to look this over. Okay, so this legislation is amending CAP 3518, Mr. Chair, members of the BNS committee. So this is a different legislation than the style legislation, than the project change legislation. So they really don't get done as in the same legislation, because they're two different types of legislation. If I'm remembering correctly, the president, yeah, I see it here, and I am on page 2 of 3, paragraph B. It reads, the Navajo Nation president exercised line item veto authority in Council Resolution CAP 3518. So this legislation is to insert new projects into the original legislation. The project change is a completely different legislation. And so to do those are done on the form that CPMD fills out and okays that the projects are, I forget the language, it's been so long now, but construction ready or something like that. So they really would not get combined in the same legislation, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Okay, thank you for that response, Ms. Lowe. So as far as guidance is concerned, Madam Chair Charleston's question was, where should we? I guess my first instinct was to withdraw it and reintroduce the legislation, because this is a 2019 legislation that's been going slowly making its way through. But so that my first instinct was just to withdraw this one and then redo everything in one big legislation. That's my first instinct, but I might be wrong on that. So according Ms. Lowe, what would be the recommendation from OLC, to continue moving forward with this or redraft a new one?
I'm not understanding. I'm clearly not understanding the question. Why would you need to draft a new legislation?
Chair, do you mind if I? Oh,
sure.
Listen, so there are other projects that have been added on, and so what I was told by Dana is maybe what we can do is do one legislation that would add all of the projects all on one, because there's two right now, budget and finance, but I need to drop legislation for one more. And so that's where Dana was saying maybe we could put all of the change of projects on one legislation. And then on that legislation, it does require the year. And so, it would be done on just one legislation, as opposed to doing 3 legislations that are doing the same thing, naming 3 different projects. Does that make sense? Are you understanding now?
No. Are you talking about project changes that are already in existence? Are you talking about adding projects to the legislation?
Chair, can I interject? Chair, this is Peggy. Can I interject something, please?
Hold on, Peggy. Hold up.
Okay.
Go ahead, Madam Chair Charleston.
So these are new projects. These are new projects being added to the Citizen project. There are so right now there's going to be 3 legislations. So what Dana had recommended is to just do one legislation with all of the new projects added, as opposed to doing 3 separate ones. So my question At this point,
Yeah, now I understand.
my question is, okay,
So one seems to be more efficient. I don't personally have a preference. I don't know if anybody else does, or if the sponsor does, or the committee does. Administratively, it would be easier, I think, to read and understand, but it's really up to the sponsor and the committee how they wish to proceed. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Sheena, with that, Peggy.
I think
Go ahead.
Okay, members of the committee, or who did you call up?
Madam Chair Children.
I'm sorry, Shana. I was going to say, I think I'll just take your recommendation, Chair, that I'll just go ahead and withdraw this legislation, and I'll go ahead and combine all of the ad projects onto one legislation, because I think it would actually make a lot more sense to do it that way. Thank you, Shana, for giving me that guidance.
Okay, so that way is also you can make one big amendment to CAP-18, because that's where it's headed, I believe. But before we do that, let's hear from Peggy. Go ahead, Peggy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. What is going on is, from what I'm understanding, is 500,000 was vetoed, line item vetoed by the president when he reviewed the legislation that capped 3518. And so that 500,000 was just remaining there suspended. And so Shiprock chapter decided to capture those funds and put them to bring in new projects to replace what had been vetoed. And what was vetoed was the BIA, what was it, renovation or something like that, if I remember right. And so that's what Delegate Charles Newton is attempting to do, to capture those funds, the 500,000 that remains out there, to put those into some projects that she's identified. And so I'm just bringing clarity to this situation. And that's been done before with other appropriation legislations in the past.
Okay, so with this on this resolution, there's 350,000 that's identified, but you want to add some more to that to make it 500,000? Is that what we're hearing?
Yes, and instead of doing two separate legislations, I could just combine it into one. That way it doesn't get confusing.
So you're announcing you're withdrawing this resolution then?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and withdraw, and then I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce and go through the process again.
Okay, but this committee members, Delegate Yellowhair, you have the motion. Are you gonna withdraw your motion then?
Yeah, with that, I withdraw my motion.
Okay. Delegate Nathaniel Brown, you holding the second? Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
I will agree.
No. Delegate Yellowhair withdrew his motion. You were holding the second. The sponsor, Madam Chair Charles Newton, is withdrawing this legislation so she can make it better again. Withdrawing your second. Okay, now that both motions have been withdrawn. So this legislation 341-19 has, by the sponsor's indication, will be withdrawn. And so what we'll do is we'll move forward with our agenda. And let's see, where's my Okay, I launched Deja
Yeah,
for
yeah.
giving us that clarification. And good luck on your.
Thank you all, Budget and Finance.
Because she not. With this legislation 012-20, do we have Delegate Carl Slater on the line? Or Speaker Damon? Speaker Damon, Delegate Carl Slater? Going once, first call. Speaker Damon, Delegate Slater, second call. Speaker Damon, Delegate Slater, third call. Okay, let's move forward. Legislation 153-20. Okay, Daniel So, Anish, are you still with us?
Okay, I'm still here.
Peggy, if you would read 153-20 into the record for us.
Okay, Chair. Just give me a second. I'm trying to find it on my laptop here. Okay, legislation 0153 is a proposed council legislation resolution, and is assigned to Budget and Finance Committee, then Law and Order Committee, Navigate Committee, and the Navajo Nation Council. And it's a proposed Navajo Nation Council resolution, 24th Navajo Nation Council, second year 2020. Someone needs to mute their phone, please. Introduced by Daniel E. So, sponsor, tracking and co-sponsored by Seth Damon, tracking number 0153-20, an action relating to Budget and Finance, Law and Order, and Navigate Committees and Navajo Nation Council, amending 2 and NC Section 164A-17 to include the budget line item veto authority language approved by Navajo voters through initiative election in 2009. It enacted Section 1 authority. A, the Navajo Nation Council is the governing body of the Navajo Nation. 2 and NC Section 102A. B, the Navigate Committee is a standing committee of the Navajo Nation Council, empowered to review all proposed legislation which requires final action by the Navajo Nation Council. 2 and NC Section 164A9. C, the Law and Order Committee is a standing committee of the Navajo Nation Council, empowered to review and make recommendations to the Navajo Nation Council on proposed amendments to and enactments to the Navajo Nation Code. 2 and NC Section 601B14. D, the Budget and Finance Committee is a standing committee of the Navajo Nation Council, empowered to review and make recommendations to the Navajo Nation Council on the budgeting, appropriation, investment, and management of all funds. 2 and NC Section 301B2. Section 2 findings. A, Title 1, Subchapter 2 of the Navajo Nation Code, titled Dinepe Bibe Hazani Bitbi Seleh, Declaration of the Foundation of Diné law affirms the traditional Diné teachings concerning the appropriate roles of each of the 3 branches of the Navajo Nation. 1, the leaders of the executive branch. Alaje Hojo Je Nata shall represent the Navajo Nation to other peoples and nations and implement the policies and laws Diné Bibe Hazani enacted by the legislative branch. 2, the leaders of the legislative branch. Alaje Nahataje Nahata and Alaje Nahataje Danahudit Datsolia. And I'm sorry, I'm struggling with the Navajo reading. Shall enact policies and laws the Nebebe Hazani in harmony with the Nebebe Hazani to address the immediate and future needs. 3, the leaders of the judicial branch, Alaje Hashkeje Nahata, shall resolve disputes in the courts of the Navajo Nation and adopt rules of pleading, practice, procedure, and evidence by applying and interpreting Navajo Nation statutory laws and policies. The Nebebe Hazani, enacted by the leaders of the legislative branch. The peacemakers within the peacemaking program shall uphold the values and principles embodied in the Nebebe Hazani in the consensual practice of resolving disputes by peacemaking. B, in 1989, the Navajo Tribal Council enacted resolution number CD 6889 to reorganize the Navajo Nation government from a chairmanship to a three-branch government. CD 6889 recognized that the recent controversy involving the leadership of the Navajo Nation has demonstrated that the present Navajo Nation government structure allows too much centralized power within real checks on the exercise of power. Experience shows that this deficiency in the government structure allows for invites and has resulted in the abuse of power, end quote. CD 6889, whereas clause number 2. C, CD 6889 also specifically recognized that, quote, it is in the best interest of the Navajo Nation that the Navajo Nation government be reorganized to provide for separation of functions into three branches and provide for checks and balances between the three branches, end quote. CD 6889, whereas clause number 8. D, in 2009, in response to the 21st Navajo Nation Council, quote, over appropriation, end quote, of undeserved, undesignated, unreserved general funds, aka UUFB, the Navajo people, through an initiative vote action, delegated the president the authority to line items veto budget items contained in the annual Navajo Nation comprehensive budget or supplemental appropriations approved by the Navajo Nation Council. E, the ballot language attached as Exhibit A, approved by the Navajo people on December 15, 2009 through an initiative election, became the law of the Navajo Nation. The 2009 ballot language specifically stated that, quote, the president of the Navajo Nation will be authorized to exercise line item authority over budget items contained in the annual Navajo Nation comprehensive budget or supplemental appropriations approved by the Navajo Nation Council. Budget line items vetoed by the president of the Navajo Nation will not be subject to Navajo Nation Council override. Upon approval of this initiative, the authority of the president of the Navajo Nation to exercise line item veto authority will become effective immediately, end quote, Exhibit A. F, the 2009 ballot language further stated that, quote, if approved, this initiative may be repealed or amended by the initiative process only, end quote, Exhibit A. G, the 22nd Navajo Nation Council recognized the line item veto law approved by the Navajo people by amending its own Title II authorities to state that, quote, all resolutions enacting new laws or amending existing laws are subject to veto by the President of the Navajo Nation pursuant to 2 and C Section 1005 C, 10, and 11, and override by the Navajo Nation Council. Except financial line item vetoes are not subject to override. 2 and C, and that's in quote, and then 2 and C Section 164A17 emphasis added. H, the 22nd Navajo Nation Council's amendment did not match the ballot language approved by the Navajo voters in 2009. This discrepancy has contributed to confusion and discord between the executive and legislative branches related to the extent of the president's line item veto authority, as well as the appropriate roles of each of the branches. I, the Navajo Nation Council, finds that it is in the best interest of the Navajo Nation government to fully recognize what was approved by the Navajo voters in the 2009 initiative by amending 2 and C Section 164A17 to reflect the actual initiative ballot language, i.e., quote, the president of the Navajo Nation will be authorized to exercise line item veto authority over budget items contained in the annual Navajo Nation comprehensive budget or supplemental appropriations approved by the Navajo Nation Council. Budget line item vetoes items vetoed by the President of the Navajo Nation will not be subject to Navajo Nation Council override, end quote, Exhibit A. Section 3, amending 2 and C, Section 164A17. The Navajo Nation Council hereby amends 2 and C, Section 164A17 as follows. And this is Section 164, Navajo Nation Council and Committee Legislative Process. A, statements of policy, enactment of positive law, intergovernmental agreements, budget resolutions, and reallocations must be reviewed and approved by resolution by the appropriate standing committees and the Navajo Nation Council, except as otherwise provided herein. So then we go to 17. All resolutions enacting new laws or amending existing laws are subject to veto by the President of the Navajo Nation pursuant to 2 NC Section 1005C, 10, and 11 override by the Navajo Nation Council, except an overstricken language as financial line item vetoes are not subject to override. New language. The President is authorized to exercise line item veto authority over budget items contained in the annual Navajo Nation comprehensive budget or supplemental appropriations approved by the Navajo Nation Council. Budget line items vetoed by the President will not be subject to Navajo Nation Council override. And that ends the new language. Existing language, a vetoed resolution shall first be submitted to Navigatia Committee before consideration by the Council. Memorials are not subject to veto, but become effective upon certification by the Speaker pursuant to 2 NC Section 221C. All acts of the vetoing of the resolution shall occur within the territorial jurisdiction of the Navajo Nation as described in 7 NC Section 254.
Coleman, cooking utensil.
No. Doug, over here. Can you mute your phone?
This is Rachel. I'm on the call now.
Okay, if you don't mute your phone.
Okay, continuing to line 12, Section 4, effective date. This action shall become effective upon its approval pursuant to 2 NC Section 164A17 and 221B. Section 5, Savings Clause. Should any provision of this legislation be determined invalid by the Navajo Nation Supreme Court or a district court of the Navajo Nation without appeal to the Navajo Nation Supreme Court, those portions of the legislation which are not determined invalid shall remain the law of the Navajo Nation. And so then you go to Exhibit A, which is the nationwide initiative petition. And then the second is the full text of the initiative. And then the summary information is the third page. And then the Legislative Council's memo. And then the Internet Public Review document. And it has comments supporting, and there's a Commission on Navajo Government Development resolution that's attached, and then the comments opposing by Martha Tate. And that concludes the reading of legislation 0153-20. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Hannah, Peggy, for that good work. With that, commitment of Mr. Motion.
Motion, Vice Chair Smith.
Vice Chair Smith, motion. Is there a second?
Delegate Carty.
Delegate Brown, I'll second.
Okay. Second by Smith, Delegate Crowdy. And so with that, Jay, it's shown on your legislation 153-2020.
Sheila Chiche, Honorable Chair Jamie Hainio, Honorable Vice Chair Raymond Smith Jr., and honorable members of the Budget and Finance Committee, other legislative staff, for folks listening, teleconference meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee. Basically, the aspect of we have a president that basically overstruck legislative language in concert with proposed expenditure plans. And those overstricken language was never part of a supplemental appropriation, wasn't part of the Navajo Nation operating budget, but he used the line item authority. And I basically feel like he overstepped his authority, and I asked the Legislative Counsel, Dana Bodroff. I thought line item vetoes were supposed to only be associated with the budget. Where a dollar sign shows up on legislation, that's where he can overstrike it and eliminate it. Basically, line item veto. But in CMY 44-20, he overstruck legislative language. And so that's the reason that, and subsequently he's done that to other legislation. So that's the reason I asked, requested of Chief Legislative Counsel, and she explained to me the difference between what the 2009 Navajo Nation vote was regarding line item veto. And the language was clear in the question. It was placed on the ballot before the Navajo people. And that is in the exhibit. So in that respect, then what appears in Title II is not the same as what was voted on and approved. And so that's the reason that this legislation comes forward to you. And it's been, I guess, explained many times over. But the question now sits before the BNF committee, and I'd like to ask for the favorable vote for the members of the committee. And then from that process, then the Law and Order convening at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And this same question will be before them. And all slated to go to the Navikia committee on Thursday morning. So that would be the extent of my presentation to the BNF committee members. I stand for question. Thank you.
Committee members, are there any questions or comments regarding this legislation?
Chair, this is Elmer Begay.
Elmer Begay, go ahead.
Jag tyckte som då Daniel so not so swinging. So I respect your leadership. To come before has on I'm being a long-time member of the Navajo Nation Council. With all that, you know, that I don't know how many the turmoil that went through during that time down in the Council. At the time, you know, that the deep what happened, what's happening today, the way we look at it, and that's what's going on with this the leadership between branches the one thing that I think I respect what you're doing. The reason why is that if we continue to spin to be a delegate, to see those kind of laws being manipulated by former president and we cannot just continue doing that. Even in Asia 8, there's 3 branch government. But no, we're going to use the third judicial branch, the Supreme Court, to look at it, to interpret that law for us. So, for example, if we continue doing this again, India it's going to be setting these president on it. One day the court's going to say, all these, based on all these former delegates, you guys let it be like this. It's already been done. It's been going on. Why do we have to take an oath to do that? We need to stop these presidents, the former presidents, and even the current president. We need to let the judicial courts to look at it. So I what I has only this so just see how the need of just what are the o da pin na space ba sa an ka e abna en on hit to ni to ba ya na den na den ye ho ta de the next asigo so ba si ke go even ye ta ya e adaje na hat ajin na so ta de ya e ke khatit if you interpret that wording there audience don't need to see either ni shiko say na ta it has on it across the law. I don't think because you benches Mr. Desha, but each know that it's a hot natural it could answer the now. I can't you have not is no sheet here. George you see that that here. I think to add another. I heard you that distance answer.
Delegate Elmer Begay? Hello? Okay. Joyce Sardina, are you still there? Yeah. Coach? Oh, it's Coach. Okay, Sheena. Committee members, any other questions or comments?
Chair, this is Vice Chair.
Vice Chair Smith, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I had Shinada, Chair, committee members, BNF, Shinai, on the legislation 0153-20. Shada for reading it into record. Did I hear that there was an opposing statement on behalf of this legislation? I'm on dibs, and I don't see no indication of anybody opposing. I'd like to get a copy of that. Trying to get caught up on the legislation on here. What's going on regarding the comments? The other thing is the 2009 referendum.
the people spoke on behalf of that, and the people gave the authority on behalf of that. And the legislation that was read in, the way I understand it, is to insert the language to ensure that it is within that parameter. And I know Shania talked about it, that Yatkis Behazani Istigi Ako Wata Eyahabe Azan Ala Hinanda Patient President Dan Linigi Ebikistkidole Kodona Kindlida. That's why I understand it. But I just would like to have that. If Peggy can send me a copy of that, so I can read the opposition on that, because those are something that may bring a question, pose a question on what's going on, why the opposition. Thank you, Chair. Okay.
Christian, for clarification, Vice Chair Smith, the opposition was from Martha Tate in Scripture House, and the body of it is that council has too much power, that the president is the only voice of the people, and the context of it is because of the school board appropriations and how has he made that decision by himself. That's the body. It'll help you, but of course, yeah, it will be sent out, and so that was the intent of this legislation. This is do a simple language change. Any other questions or comments from the members?
Sir, can I comment? This is Peggy.
Go ahead, Peggy.
In response to Vice Chair Smith, the legislation with the opposing letter from Martha Tate is attached as an opposing comment. I think it's an email. It was sent out to everyone this morning at 10:24. So check your email. It's included in your email.
Thank you, Shada. I'm looking it up now.
Okay, at the very end, very last page. Committee members, any other questions or comments? Yeah, go back to Che. I know so, Chairman So, for a response.
Kushila Che, Ado Sutsile, Quaggy Sabe Gito, Quaggy, Hila, it's Fatsi, Fatminiki, Quaggy. Jo, this sad Igi Aya, Ashil So, Ohulnihiki, a president Bahnelia. Though a not named it cheetah. As your source, so it is the Nemigi a Hajo be totally the quaggy, but on us a Hata, nothing though, but on us a Hata, ad. Need a nap, Dahnit, night the kid. Digish, quaggy. Deze behoort ons quaggy a large not on is a bandol yes overlegi quaggy beso behoort on a quaggy aya. So a had either not on ne cheetah. Oh, jo is digi is edole. Could didn't ye so quaggy not so to Ziggy Bito so Asa Tole. A digi even yet is legislation is on it or nicht the snow area quaggy also Hadelia a quaggy ba jo ba panistin do so e ha si ohligi nat ni chi da e e hot e ba hanana seat only sinand I Chedo, members of the BNF committee. Thank you.
Chairman Henio. Chairman Henio. This is Delegate Nez here.
Hey, Chairman Nez.
Okay,
thank you.
May I
Welcome
speak,
to
sir?
BNF. Sure, go ahead.
Request this. Thank you very much, and honorable members of Budget and Finance Committee. Arashana, Daniel So, Advisor Ms. Nakai, could you forward me that opposing statement to legislation 0153-20? Thank you. I'm out jogging, so thank you very much.
Good to see the chairman there. Thank you for that. Any other comments, committee members?
Chairman, this is Del Roddy with a question.
Go ahead.
Chairman, I just want to, I think in terms to the sponsor, the legislation language that you are amending, is that replacing with exact ballot language that the people voted on? I just want to be clear in terms of the language or what is being modified or amended. Thank you.
Because two Indians can go inside.
Okay, Che, one question for you, Chairman So.
Sheila Che, Honorable Henio, the members of the BNF Aroshima, Honorable Amber Kanazba Kradi. The question you posed, yes, it is the exact language that was on the referendum. The ballot question would coincide with what we're trying to place into Title II of the Navajo Nation Code. It is word for word. Thank you.
Okay, with that, committee members, any other questions or comments? I'm not hearing any, so call for the question. Delegate Yellow Hair.
I'll vote green for this legislation. Thank you to Mr. Honorable Daniels. So,
Vice Chair Smith.
Chair Nanda, green.
Okay, Shimon, Delegate Amber Crotty.
Delegate Amber Canasbaugh Crotty votes green. Thank you.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Okay, Delegate Brown votes green. Yeah.
Delegate Elmer P. Begay.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh. Main motion vote.
Oh, the green.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Main motion. So we have 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. Legislation has a due pass from Budget and Finance. Che, good luck on your resolution 153-20. Ekehela for being with us.
Kushila, thank you. Zani, do Asheha Kwagi, the Asa Nikwe, Adashina, Nizit Ole, Asheha Nana.
Kushina, that was the last item on our agenda for action. So we're now at close of session. There's no written announcements. So our next meeting is August 4th, 2020. And next week, we have our summer session. So with that, committee members, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion by Vice Chair Smith.
Okay, Vice Chair, is there a second? Second by Delegate Yellowhair. So that is 12:42 p.m. Motion to adjourn, Delegate Yellowhair.
Green?
Vice Chair Smith.
Green.
Delegate Crotty.
Delegate Amber Kennesaw-Crotty votes green. Thank you.
Delegate Brown.
Delegate Brown votes green. Yeah.
Okay. Delegate Elmer Begay.
Vote green.
And we have 5 in favor. Is there opposed to adjourn? We are hereby adjourned. Hello, committee members. It was a productive meeting, and be safe out there wherever you go. Peggy, committee reports, when will they be ready?
Probably around in about an hour and a half, maybe. Just within a few. I just need to get it over to the office, print them, and then it should be available. So not very long. Are you in the Window Rock area?
I can start driving that way.
Oh, okay. And then committee members, if you're still on the call, don't forget we have our update meeting on Friday at 8:30. Our work session. Unless, of course, you don't want to have it.
Thank you. No, they're good to have. So we'll make a decision by then.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair, Vice Chair. Vice Chair, go ahead.
During the summer session, are we going to be doing teleconference? Are we going to be there present? Wait on.
I haven't heard anything. More likely teleconference either.
Chairman. This is
Byron.
Yes. Really quickly, we are planning to have the summer session be via teleconferencing.
Chairman Henio, this is.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. For speaker staff, is there a way that you can set up, or is there a platform where we can follow, like visually? I'm on a few like federal calls, and they like present PowerPoints, and we have other documents. I just went through a tribal consultation. I think we need a visual element too when especially as we're making like amendments or looking at amendment language. Is that being planned for the special session? Thank you.
Byron?
Thank you, Chairman. To answer your question, Delegate Crotty, we do have the typical setup being planned via the live streaming. But the suggestion of visual tracking system for delegates, especially regarding amendments, that's also being planned. It was something that Office of Legislative Counsel did bring up a few weeks ago. And so we have a few ideas, and we'll be sharing them hopefully in the next few days.
Okay. Any other committee members before we log off?
One more, Chair.
Go ahead.
I understand that the chapter quorum is going to be Ashwata.
I thought we passed the legislation to keep it going till this coronavirus is lifted. Or Alexa.
For council meetings?
No, the chapter meetings, they dropped it down to 3, which would be the officials, and whoever's shown up would constitute a quorum, and then they can conduct business by teleconference. The quorum Yishugi.
That one states, Vince James's legislation, it says, until the public gathering is reinstituted, or there is a 25 people allowed again. So that one stays on until this whole public order is lifted. But the other one that's expiring is the legislative branch boards and committees. They're calling Nigi. That one's expiring. Also, Kuroshima Delegate Crowdy's legislation regarding chapters teleconferencing in to their meetings, officials teleconferencing and giving them certain authorities under Title 26. That's expiring July 19th.
July 19th is the expiration for the teleconferencing?
Oh, for chapter officials to call into their meetings. The 3-person quorum is still effective, but it's just teleconferencing into chapter meetings. That's expiring July 19th. I need to drop the other one for an extension right away, which is the legislative branch, boards, and commissions. But Shimadel Gikari, her legislation is expiring on July 19th.
Because one of our chapters was asking about that. Chair.
I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Chairman Henio, this is Delegate. If you're heading to Window Rock, can you drop that request to extend the chapter teleconferencing?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. And then
excuse me, this is Dana. I apologize for interrupting, but I do believe Elmer Begay already requested that extension, and the legislation was finished yesterday. I don't know if it's been picked up yet.
For the chapter teleconferencing?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I just need to extend the other one then for the legislative branch, boards and commissions.
Okay. Consider it then.
Thank you. I'll be there to sign committee reports later on today or early tomorrow morning.
Okay, I will see if we can't have that ready for you tomorrow or this afternoon. We'll see.
Chair Stein, I just need to know if that has been dropped into the 5-day comment period. Thank you.
Okay, I'll check on it.
Chair, and if they haven't picked it up yet, we'll co-sponsor them. Rather they can get it in a 5-day comment.
I'll check on it when I get there.
Have a good afternoon.
The other thing, this is Peggy again, is Dominic has informed us, and I sent out a notice to you, was that the BIM isn't quite ready and may be ready on Wednesday. So he wanted a special meeting next week, but I told him that we'll just wait until we hear that the BIM legislation has been dropped. And he was hoping that Legislative Council would have already started working on the draft legislation, but I told him I don't know anything about that. I know we have a sponsor, which is Mr. Yellowhair, and everyone wanted to co-sponsor, so that's where we're at with that, in case you were wondering.
Okay, thank you for that.
May I ask if OMB sent over the, what was it, red line copy to Office of Legislative Services?
Well, what Dominic had indicated was that it had gone to within the process on their side with OMB, OOC, and DOJ, and I'm not sure if it's gone over to OLC yet.
This is Dana again. I do not believe that OLC has gotten anything from Dominic. If Kristen is still on the line, maybe she knows something different, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, hearing no response from Kristen. Peggy, if we could remind OMB to submit that document. I can't see how Legislative Council can develop something without any supporting documents from OMB.
Okay, I'll follow up on it. He had sent an email on Monday at 3:37, and he was saying we are close to having the BIM done. It was reviewed by DPM, OOC, and DOJ, and so he was saying that we hope to have it ready by late Wednesday, the 15th. And so his question was, is Kristen Lowell drafting the legislation? It would be good to have the legislation and exhibits dropped by July 16th or 17th, so that it would be ready for BNF action on or on about 7/24. That's what he was saying. And then he was saying, is BFC scheduling a special meeting on this on the 24th? And I just told him it seems like we're delayed a bit, because he had indicated the last week that it would be ready Monday, the 13th. To be dropped, and that's why, you know, I got a sponsor for Mr. Yellowhair and all, and then it still isn't ready, and so that's where I responded to him and told him that we'll wait until we hear that the legislation is ready and has been dropped, and we'll call a special session, because I don't want to have the committee wait and have no legislation ready yet. The committee entered into a special meeting and waiting for the legislation. I don't want to see that. But I will check to see when he's going to have it ready for the red line copy to go to the Legislative Council.
Thank you.
Peggy, I believe Chairman Hanio is no longer on the call.
Okay, have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.